just to keep us on time. The next thing that I wanted to chat about real quick is the summoner. We know that it's pushed out. It's not going to be at the beginning of Alpha 2, but it will be one of the first patches for Alpha 2. And someone from the Reddit such committee is suggesting Hydra for summoner. What do you think? What if summoner had a Hydra summon, imagined as a regeneration, and its hit points are broken up into sections that represent heads?
As soon as I hear Hydra, I think of Diablo. As the only Hydra game mechanic I've seen, you were able to cast a few on the ground. They shot fireballs. Summoner to me for any type of spawn, it really doesn't matter. I hope they do varying and different. It really is about being unique that we haven't seen before as a summoner. But absolutely.
I think that'd be cool.
I think it'd be neat. I mean, honestly, anything that just has a cool kind of presence and just an interesting feeling to it as far as a summon, I think is golden. Like, put it in. Let's try it. Do it. The Hydra idea that such committee put forward is actually kind of neat, though.
Yeah, I like it. It's a unique take, you know. And then the other thing on Summoner, because for those of us that might be new, Summoner is one of those kind of like pick your expertise class, if you will. It's like a very fluid class. You could be DPS, you could be more of a healy kind of class, etc. And on the forums, Will-O-Wisp is concerned about Summoner being strictly a summons based class, a pet class, and they think that a summoner should always be a 50-50 kind of deal, and that summoners would be really weak without its summon, and a summon should be really weak without its summoner. What are your thoughts on that?
Summoner gameplay is, to me, boring. I don't like having my power split, really, because I mean, if you're talking balance, they usually are going to split your power between yourself and the unit that you're summoning. So me personally, it is what that is. But my problem is that if we are going to have the gameplay of an 8-man team, and they do have like a tank, a DPS offset, that can make that, and they, let's say, bring 3 summoners, that brings potentially 3 extra and maybe make an 11-man team, which can be pretty cluttered, pretty advantageous to that group, either even PvE or PvP, where that kind of dilutes maybe some content, or the gameplay from the summoner is not as strong. Where my thematic hope for the summoner would be more of a wispy type summoning, where you're casting something, it's there as the actual ability or cast, and then it goes away. And it's more of the spell effect is a 30-15 seconds versus a permanent type summoned ability.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I was laughing. Virtek was clearly laughing at Fupo, saying, wow, I have 0 input about summoner stuff. I'm just a dumb, small black cat. Tink. But I like what you have pulled up there on Eiffel. Go ahead, Virtek.
Yeah, so Eiffel says, summoners for me have the greatest potential for surprise. You can't innovate as much with archers, sword wielders, etc. as you can with a summoner. And that's kind of the basis for my opinion on it, is the summoners really should get a good portion of their power coming from their summon, in my opinion. And 50-50 seems kind of decent, at least for initial testing and all, because otherwise, how are you going to get that variety of feeling with your different summons, right? If it's only 10% of your power, then you're only going to be able to shift 10% of your power into tanking for you. You think 10% of your power is good enough to keep you alive if you're out adventuring on your own, or if your tank falls and you need to hold up an ad while your cleric revives them? You're probably going to need a little bit more than that. So in order to swing from doing damage to being an actual kind of temporary tank substitute, I think a 50-50 is a decent split of power to be able to shift that over, you know?
Yeah, and Aberrat was asking, how does a summon exist without a summoner? And I mean, that's a good question because ideally, you've seen previously, oh, if you take care of the summoner, the summons will go away. You don't have to worry about all the ads. Just focus on the boss. But I think it would kind of be cool to see maybe like the summons lasting just a little longer after a summoner dies. This is just coming from the perspective of someone who mainly plays healer, never play a summoner in my life. So I could totally be like way OP and I had no idea. But that's one way I could see of it, like maybe lasting 5 seconds longer after a summoner dies and then disappearing, because that life got like cut. I don't know. Yeah, maybe as a skill tree option. Exactly.
Actually, it would be kind of neat, like just to add on that, like especially out in like if you get PK'd out in the world, or if you just happen to die from a random mob, it could sit there and kind of, to a degree, protect your corpse while you're coming back.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to get at too. If it's a skill tree add-on, that gives me, the cleric, chance to revive you, and maybe by the time I revive you, you'll either have a chance to not have to resummon, if I can somehow revive you within that 5 seconds, or maybe there'll be a reduced cost to resummoning if you have to resummon. I don't know. I thought that might be kind of cool. But also, like Phantom says, it's more important to ask if a summoner should be less without summons, because right now it's kind of known as a pet class, right? So it kind of gives you that feeling that like without your pets, you're kind of defenseless. And that's a good question. Like, should I be defenseless without my pets, or should my pets make me more well-rounded?
I think that putting it all in percentage numbers, I think that 100% of power should only exist if there's a summoner and a summoned creature. And half of each would or it'd be a 50-50 power split. But if you get rid of the summoned creature, then the summoner may absorb some of that power back to them, but they're only going to hit like a 90% or an 85%
So what do you think about
of total power.
What do you think about battle pets then? Because isn't that the concept too?
Oh man, see, I think the battle pet thing, I think it's supposed to be like horizontal, where you're going to be the same power, you just get extra capability. But the summoners thing is supposed to make them stronger. So that's where I kind of get the idea of like 80 to 90% of power could be gained by just the summoner existing. But then once they summon their creature, they get up to their actual full 100% power. So I guess you could say once they are 100%, but when they summon a creature, it's 120%. But half of that is coming from the summon itself, and the other half is from them.
Do you think summoners will be better at solo inherently? Or just being able to have a pet? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You'd be solo machines. Might even make my first character a summoner, just saying, get myself racing up to max level solo if need be.
On that topic, I think I'll go ahead and swap us over. And Virtek, if you want to get the fan focuses together, I will chat with Vyril about the adoption of AI features with an NPC. And I'll pull that up in just a second. I just saw Mr. Valentine tagged me. Hi, Mr. Valentine, welcome in. I see that Summoner secondary class will have significant augments to the class, as they want Summoner to be a jack of all trades. That being said, I feel that Tank, Cleric, and Summoner will be the classes that get the most drastic changes on their secondary class choices, while the DPS classes will have less impact in that choice. That's a great, I like that thought. That's a good final thought on Summoner.